a dent. This girl's out here skunk. I'm not your friend. I can't kick for nothing.
Yeah. Where do you guys buy your jeans from?
That honestly depends. I've had some luck. I mean, I present more masculine, so a lot of the times I will like resource to Old Navy. I'll just kind of go there and like get one of the bigger pairs. I actually did just get a pair from Old Navy like a couple weeks ago, and I love it, but it's a little big in the waist, so I do have to take it in. I'm probably gonna tailor it though. So, but I do love Old Navy's jeans, especially their men's section.
I don't really wear jeans, but I think the only two pairs that I own are from Shein.
Why do they always do this? Like, she's not big, he's not big in the red. But it supposed to be 1, 2, 3, 4. It supposed to be 6.
I feel like it depends what style I'm going for.
True.
Like for fitted jeans, I definitely think like Good American's my go-to. Obviously they're like on the higher end of like pricing wise, but they like make my ass look great.
Well, that's the thing. Also, like getting the confidence to actually wear what you want, it took me forever. So when I actually did, I'm still in the mentality when I was like 16, 17 and I could fit in a medium. So I'm like, oh, I can't go to the same stores. Like I can't go to a mall and buy clothes anymore.
I would say 2 years ago, I would go to like Goodwills and Value Villages, but that has become a lot harder as of late. The reason that I chose to do this was mainly because it meant a lot to me to share the idea of like, as you transition away from being in a bigger body to potentially being in a skinnier body, that is not something that like makes you harder working or better at like achieving some sort of goal than the other person or another person that you may see in a plus size body. And going into it, I like promised myself I wasn't gonna tell any lies. I was gonna be very truthful and speak on every kind of experience that I had had leading up to today. I wanted to make sure that what I was saying was stuff that I lived through. I think putting on a...
So, he was big before, and now he's small? I fuck with that.
character would be disrespectful.
I was almost up there, too. But football got me right, though.
The other people that were here today. I just thrift most of my clothing, and like I have a tailor for my pants anyway.
Shout out to the tailors.
Yeah, 100%. Especially when I'm back home. I'm 15 minutes outside of New York City, so I usually just commute in there. There's this one thrift store, I don't know if anybody's been, called the L Train, and like that is really good for carrying bigger sizes. Back in my actual hometown, I can go to my tailor very easily. It's like a 5-minute drive from my house.
Okay.
So I thrift probably 90% of my clothing, cheaper, saves energy, and like it feels way easier.
There is no way he's gonna go pay like $15 for jeans, then go pay $45. Like, I get it, as a plus size person, tailoring for some things, great. But I could not believe for a second that he is tailoring every set. And I was like, he is not fat anymore.
Not gonna lie, I shop at Ross a lot, or Marshalls. And finding jeans is hard. It's a hit or miss. Sometimes at Ross they'll have bigger sizes, sometimes they don't. But if it says stretch, then I'm usually good on it.
I actually didn't even share where I got my jeans from. I realized that. I usually shop at like American Eagle. Jeans in general are like a struggle.
American Eagle, hey, they got some good pants, I ain't gonna lie. I got a few pants from American Eagle.
To find either they fit your thighs and they don't fit your waist, or they fit your waist and it's a struggle.
Oh man. I did feel, I guess, invalidated in a point, because they were talking about, brands and, and stuff that I can't really afford. So I thought my answer of, I shop at Ross because that's what I could afford, I thought that's what kind of eliminated me.
So I was gonna say, if any of you guys did any form of like performance as a kid, and I know we were talking about how some of us were models before, sorry about names, but how that affected you growing up, and how like the idea of performing and being on stage was definitely more difficult for you than your peers.
That is an awesome question.
Yeah. Well, you start since there.
Yeah. So I was on the math team for my elementary school, which was like very fun and I enjoyed it a lot. But before our first meet, when we were doing practices and such, they gave us the vest sizes. And I remember putting on the largest vest size that they had, and it clinging to my skin and making me very uncomfortable. And I walked into the bathroom and I was looking at myself in the mirror and I was like, I can't do this, and I quit. And it really frustrated me that I let that take away something that meant a lot to me. that was definitely like my first experience with like, it is very difficult for me that outside elements are going to take who I am and make that a form of a problem.
As a woman in a plus size theater community, it's like, I always got the funny roles or the really unattractive roles. And I'm like, I'm big, that doesn't mean I'm hilarious. Like,
Girl, we could talk about this forever.
yeah, so that's
Yeah.
super powerful, because performing and becoming into yourself, you either have to be overly confident and fake it till you make it.
She not even big though. Like, she really not.
Or it will tear you down. So I'm very sorry that that happened to you.
How do we all identify? Do we identify, like, what do we use to label ourselves if you have one?
PHAT. Thank you.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
I have a weird feeling about that one for some reason.
PHAT. I have no clue. Oh, okay. I get it now.
I like just normal.
Yeah.
Because I'll say fat and then people will be like, oh my God, fat. And then I'll be like, it's not inherently a bad
No,
word.
not a
It's
taboo
an
word. That's the
adjective.
biggest-
I
That's
say
the
fat all
thing.
the
No, but it
time.
is kind of taboo because I was like, oh yeah, I'm fat. Don't say that, you're beautiful. I am gorgeous, but I am fat.
I didn't say I was ugly.
It's, oh my God,
Yeah,
bro.
I'm sorry, I misspoke.
I was
People
like,
treat it like it's
right,
taboo, and
right.
that's
So
the
it's
issue, really.
it's two truths. I'm like,
Exactly, yeah.
I feel beautiful, but I am fat. Being fat or plus size does not mean that we're not active, that we're not nice people, that we're not worthy. It really sucks when people treat you differently because you're a size 18 rather than a size 2 or 4.
When I, like, for example, great example, I went Halloween shopping, and it's really hard because, like, first and foremost, trying to find the plus size costumes, they're like, oh, it's just kind of integrated everywhere. And it's like, realistically, you have 200 costumes here, but only like 10 are for plus size. Then I go on to the other costumes, and I was like, oh, my choice is to be like a duck or the plus.
Nah, that's crazy. A duck for the fat people? That's crazy, bro. They can get any other costume. A duck. That's crazy.
The plus size nun costume covered boobs, knees, everything, but the skinny costume for the other nun was like tits out for Harambe. And I'm like, so I literally, like, my choice is like be a bubble bath or a duck, and I'm like, I need a plus size section when I walk into somewhere because we have not progressed in human society.
There was this
I was-
brand
sorry.
that had this big campaign saying they were launching extended sizes, and then it came out and it was like completely different than the straight sizes, and I'm like, we are just asking for the same thing.
Why
in
do they
size.
get cocktail dresses and I get moons?
Literally.
Shut the up. What? Me?
Girl.
What? Yo! Oh my God!
I didn't know it.
Who voted me out?
I am equally shocked.
I'm psychic. I know. One of you was on to something.
If you think the mole is still in the box and you wish to continue playing the game, please raise your hand.
Why they had to wait? Why they had to come get her though? She was kind of moving around and stuff, and you know you can feel a fat person, bro. So like, no hate or nothing, but this is what it was, bro.
Raise your hand.
I think the odd one out is probably somebody who lived as a fat
It
person,
used to be, yeah.
but lost the weight. But usually, a lot of the times, people that do grow up fat or go through weight loss journey, they end up being more fat phobic. That's not in all cases. It's not in all cases, but it does happen a lot.
Turning in on that, like I really do think that in my personal experience, people that go from being in a bigger body into like becoming skinny feel some sort of resentment, especially because I think they tie achievement to what they've done for some reason. Like there's this very big principle of like, look at what I've done, and they push this like American dream-esque mentality of like
and
genuinely like I worked
exactly.
hard and I did this, and it's like, well, not everybody wants to do that.
And
Not
like,
everybody
that's fine.
like,
That's fine. If you want to lose weight, do that. But you don't need to like project that onto everyone else. And I would think if you were somebody who lived that experience as a fat person, you would understand.
Honestly, dating, I've met many many guys who were like, I used to be big, so I understand that being smaller is more desirable. And it's just like this conversation just rubs me the wrong way because I've been met with so many people who think like that. And like the worst person I dated was very fat phobic, and they used to be bigger and they lost weight, and they were like shaming me about my body, being like, you know, we'd have better sex if you were smaller and all that shit.
no.
Like, oh my.
He wildin'. He wildin', bro. Cause I ain't even
No, 100, and it's the connotation, right? Like,
Yeah.
because they like quote. Sorry,
Fat is
I was gonna.
bad.
Well, I was gonna throw up air quotes, but we all blindfolded.
Yeah.
Because they like put in the work.
Yeah.
That part being air quotes, and like became
Yeah.
Into a skinnier body.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, there's this idea
Wait,
like
yeah.
you aren't working as well.
Yeah.
But, not everybody, but again, not everybody
Yeah.
wants to work that hard.
Exactly.
quote unquote.
Can we also go down the line and maybe just say if we have been fat or plus size most of our life, or if
Oh,
it, you know,
actually, that's great because I wanted to say for me it was a little bit different. Growing in South America, there isn't a lot of overweight people, obese people, and I've always been curvy, so to speak. And I was fine, but I was still like, you know how they say I spent my skinny years thinking I was fat? So I moved to the US when I was 16, and I started gaining weight. You know, the life here is different. I wasn't as active, I wasn't doing sports anymore, and then I was on birth control. So for me, it was hormonal imbalance that made me gain a lot of weight. But it really sucked, and you know, in my own skin, I'm gonna start crying, I'm sorry. You know, like being skinny, and like now you're fat, and like everybody treats you different.
I think it's difficult too because you know, I grew up fat. I've been fat my entire life, and I've always envied in a way I've always wondered what it would be like to live in a thin body and have people treat you differently. Like I've dreamt about it, and I think that is really difficult when you exactly. I understand what you're saying. Like you've lived both, and it's hard because you know, from people who haven't, it's just we can't even
You
fathom.
don't even understand.
Yeah.
And speaking into the whole spending your skinny years feeling like you're fat, I definitely relate to that. I'm a bulimia survivor. I was bulimic for about 8 years, and I also played volleyball and was in theater and stuff like that. And the only reason I stopped throwing up and binging and purging is because I was losing my voice, and I love to sing, and I got nodes.
No, that's the worst.
shit.
Oh my God.
I went from mezzo soprano to mezzo alto.
Are we all crying now?
Pretty much. But yeah, like if it didn't affect my voice, I don't know if I would have stopped.
That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy.
It really broke my heart after, you know, having to vote people out who in my heart I knew were fat, to just feel invalidated. That sucks. That really sucks.
What? Because I wasn't crying. I'm sorry, y'all.
So the eliminations is something that we're wrestling with. Do you feel like it took away from the experience?
It was just like being in the space where we were sharing our stories and everything felt so heartfelt, but it's just a game. But overall, it was really awesome to be in the space and have these conversations that don't happen often if you don't have fat friends to talk about them with. As someone who grew up very self-conscious and didn't know where to look and turn to see people like me, I take that on as an adult to speak about these things and have these conversations that we're still confused about.
If you think the mole is still in the box and you wish to continue playing the game, please raise your hand.
I swear to God, if anyone's lying, oh my God, I'm so
For real.
pissed.
If the lights turn green, that means you have voted the mole out and you win. If the lights turn red, that means the mole is still in the box and you lose. 1, 2, 3.
Oh no, we lost.
On the count of 3, everyone can take off their blindfolds. 1, 2, 3.
I knew it.
I
Wow.
I told a heartfelt story about dating someone fat phobic. You guys voted me.
Okay, can we talk about 1,000,001 reasons why it was Derek?
Okay, the only one that got me was like the theater. Like I really could relate with that. So I obviously know that
No.
you felt like you really were through that.
biggest
I
red
think
flag.
that was true.
No, it was true. That's what I'm saying.
That's an
Gave me
important
away
thing.
was
Nothing.
saying you away was
There is
that
not a single.
you
Yeah.
were getting-
So when I was in 4th grade, I was 4 feet tall. I was 144 pounds, and my doctor told me that I was morbidly obese, and it was a very like self-image wrecking thing for me because he used language that made it seem like I needed to change as opposed to just assessing where I was. Like I said, everything that I talked about before was true, but when we were talking about people being incredibly fat phobic that go through a transition of being in a bigger body and then ending up quote unquote skinnier, that experience for me was I mistook the pain that came with not having self-love as being associated with a number on a scale. And as I kept moving the goalposts further and further away from my...
Hey, that first girl, she really straight. Damn. I wish you could show it right here. There you go.
You never know why someone's plus size. I don't know who made the rules, but
I'll date her. She ain't even